Have you ever tried to let something go and realize it was not letting go of you? A person, a memory, a mistake, and maybe a version of yourself that no longer exists. Is not it strange that the mind can forget? Thousands of ordinary days it hold on to one single moment for years. Why? What if the question was never? Why can't I let go? What if the real question is? Why was mind designed to hold on? To answer that question, we have to travel back, not to your childhood, not to your first relationship, but millions of years to a world where letting go could mean losing your life. Imagine you are born into a world where you cannot survive alone, you cannot find food, you cannot escape danger, you cannot protect yourself. Every moment your life depends on staying close to the people who care for you. Now imagine you are nature. How do you keep a helpless child close enough to survive? Newborn cannot understand words, it cannot understand logic. Nature needed another way. Over millions of years, the human brain developed one extraordinary survival system: attachment. Not because attachment makes us happy, but because for most of human history, attachment helped us survive. Long before it became part of every love story, it was already part of story of human survival. And even today, that is ancient survival system still lives inside every one of us. But for thousands of years, no one truly understood why. For thousands of years, people experienced attachment. Parents comforted their children. Children cried when they were separated. Families stayed together. Everyone could see it. Yet no one fully understood why. Then, in the middle of the 20th centuries, one psychologist began asking a different kind of question. Not how do children behave, not how do children learn, but something much deeper. Why does a child search for one particular person when they are afraid? His name was John Bowlby. At that time, many psychologists believed that babies became attached to their mothers because their mothers provided food. It seemed like a reasonable explanation, but Bowlby was not convinced. He noticed something that did not fit. When children were frightened, they did not run toward food, they ran toward safety. They reached for the person who made them feel protected. That simple observation would change the way psychologists understood human relationships. Bowlby proposed that attachment is not simply learned through feeding. It is biological survival system that keeps children close to the people most likely protect and care for them. Suddenly, love, comfort, fear, separation, and connection were no longer seen as a simple emotions. They became part of our biology. But Bowlby discovery opened another mystery. If attachment is built into us, how does the brain create that experience? To answer that, we have to look inside the human brain. If Bowlby was right, then attachment is not just an idea. It must exist inside the brain itself. Modern neuroscience shows that it does. Imagine you are a young child. A loud sound breaks the silence. Before you have time to think, your brain asks one simple question: am I safe? Deep inside the brain, the amygdala is constantly searching for signs, not only physical danger, but emotional danger as well. When someone you trust comforts you, holds you, and responds to your fear, your brain begins to learn something extraordinary. The world is safe enough. Those moments become the blueprint for future relationships. But when comfort is inconsistent or fear becomes familiar, the brain learns a different blueprint. Not because the child is weak, but because the brain adapts to the world it experiences. Years later, that same survival system is still protecting you, sometimes without you realizing it. An unanswered message feels like danger, distance feels like rejections, silence feels like abandonment. Not because your brain is broken, but because it remembers, and what the brain learns, it can also learn again. If the brain is trying to protect us, then another question appears. Why does protection sometimes become suffering? Because the brain was never designed to make us happy. It was designed to help us survive. If losing connection once meant danger, the brain will continue searching for danger even when the danger no longer exists. It replays memories, imagines rejection, questions silence, searches for certainty, not because it wants to hurt you, but it believes it protecting you. Sometimes the greatest source of suffering is not pain itself. It is the endless struggle to make pain disappear. The survival system that once saved our ancestors can become trapped inside modern life, not because it failed, but because it never stopped doing its job. And that leaves us with one final question. If the brain never stopped protecting us, can we learn a different relationship with our own mind? For most of our lives, we believe the answer is to get rid of painful thoughts, to eliminate fear, to stop attachment, to stop suffering. But what if that was never the answer? Perhaps real freedom does not begin when the mind becomes silent. Perhaps it begins when they stop demanding that it be silent. The mind will continue to produce thoughts. It will continue to predict danger. It will continue to remember pain. Because that is what minds do. Our thoughts are not commands. Emotions are not enemies. Fear is not failure. They are experiencing passing through a living mind. Understanding does not erase pain, but it changes our relationship with it. And perhaps that is where psychological freedom begins. Maybe the goal was never to stop the mind from holding on. Maybe the goal is to understand why it holds on in the first place. Because the moment we stop treating our mind as enemy, we begin to see it for what it has always been, a survivor.